So 5-4, when you look at 5-4, oh great, it's a journal. Not too bad, right? And we have 2 transactions. Not too bad. But what we have to do is we have to understand what these 2 transactions are. So the first transaction is paid cash to establish the petty cash fund, $250. So basically, our business has decided in 1 month's time, they would need $250 worth of cash to cover those small payments that I've talked about. So we have to, it tells us, paid cash to establish petty cash fund, $250, C57. What are my 2 accounts? Cash and petty cash. Okay, cash going up or down? Down, because we're writing a check. Our source document is a C for a check, so cash gets credited. So petty cash is therefore going up, because before this it was 0. You only do this July 3rd transaction once for a business, for the whole life of a business. If you have a business that's been around for 50 years, you still only do this transaction once. Okay? Let's journalize it. We are on page 13 of the journal. So we have July 3rd. So what's my account title? Petty cash, because we don't have a special account column. Now, cash is being credited, $250. General is being debited, $250. How's that? Easy enough? Journalize the transaction. Okay. Now, you have just time warped to the end of July. And this is what is the hardest thing for students to realize, is you have to time warp, and we've had a whole month of business happening. People have gone and bought stuff. They've taken $10 for petty cash. They put their receipts back in like I talked about. And when we read this transaction, it tells me that I am replenishing petty cash. This is what kicks every accounting student's butt, because you are really good. I've trained you really well about reading transactions, and you see the word petty cash, and you're like, oh, petty cash, that's an account title. I must have to affect petty cash, right? Yes, because I've taught you when you read a transaction paid cash, you're like, oh, one of the accounts I'm affecting is cash. And if you see supplies in there, you're like, okay, I'm affecting supplies. So when students read this transaction, it says paid cash to replenish petty cash fund, $78, supplies $25, miscellaneous $8, repairs $45. So this is what students say. Petty cash fund $78, supplies $25, miscellaneous $8, repairs $45. That's not right. It's telling you it's replenishing petty cash, but am I actually going to affect the account, bless you, petty cash? No. They're just telling you what is happening. They went into that brown, gray, black box of things. They took the receipts out. They added them up. And because we had spent cash on those items throughout the month, we have to get that journalized and recorded. So when we journalize and record it, you're going to have that supplies is going to be debited $25. Miscellaneous expense is going to be debited $8, and repairs expense is going to be debited $45. So we're going to have a transaction that's actually going to take 3 lines, because we have all of those that need to be affected. And then we're going to debit each one of them, and what is going to be credited? Cash. Why? You do know why. Cash is going down. We wrote out a check. Our source document is a check. So anytime you have a source document of a check, you have to credit cash. Now, here's the thing. If I was grading this and you were writing in a workbook, you could put supplies first, and then you could do repairs, and then miscellaneous. You can do it in a different order. Applia will mark it wrong unless what? Now, it's not alphabetical in the order that it's listed here. So we'd have to do supplies, then we'll do miscellaneous, and then we'll do repairs. Now, if you did get that marked wrong, I would say it's still correct, but you need to make sure that you could print it out and you could argue back for points why it would be correct. So we're going to debit supplies, not supplies expense. Do not use the account supplies expense. It's a trick. C97 is my check number. So supplies is going to be debited $25. Miscellaneous expense is going to be debited 8. Repairs expense, not rent expense like I just typed in, is going to be debited 45. Now, here's the thing. How many checks am I writing out? One check. What is the total value of the check? $78. That $78 must go, Applio will mark it wrong, on the very first line. So you have to do, on line 2 here, you have to do a cash credit of 78. You're not writing out a check of 25, 8, and 45. You're only affecting cash once for a total of 78, and it always goes in the same line of your check number. And you're going to have these types of transactions a lot, so it's important that you know that's where it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and put 78 here. I checked that answer. Amazing! Perfect! How about you guys? Perfect? Yay. Try that on your own. Shouldn't take you very long.